And Tracy Bartlow is one of those names. So I like to celebrate her and welcome her to the Venus Line. Welcome, entrepreneur artist Tracy Bartlow.
Oh, thank you, Renee. It's so nice to be here. I have always admired you. You are a powerhouse, and
Thank
it
you.
has been so special being in community with you and all the things that you do. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You bring so many gifts to Oakland. I know you are a photographer,
Mhm.
and I remember you. I think our first introductions was Punani Poets, Real Sex on HBO.
Yes.
And I always admired how you were so comfortable with your body. It
Mm.
was ahead of its time, the segment that you did.
Hmm.
And that was just something really beautiful to celebrate.
Yes, that is incredible
That's a
to think
throwback.
about. Like this was that was our
It
introduction.
was.
Wow, that segment was the highest rated in the history of real sex.
I bet.
And it was groundbreaking, Black folks talking about erotica, about safe sex. You had queer folks on there, you had beautiful women,
Oh,
photography. Yeah, Jessica Holter, shout out to Jessica, the head of the Punani
the
Poets.
head of the Panani Poets. I
Yes.
remember your segment in particular. Tell me,
Mm-hmm.
for people who don't know, it was a segment on you with just exploring your body. And I
Yes.
just remember juicy. You was just shaking that thing. Like,
Yes.
I was like, yes. Like, this was
Yes.
before twerking, before anything. But it was something about it that was still
Mm.
very, it was erotic, but it was also very
Mm-hmm.
classy. And it was
Mm-hmm.
celebrating the woman's body and not so
Mm-hmm.
much exploiting it.
I performed a poem that I wrote on self pleasure, and it's called Precious. And I love my outfit.
Yeah, it was that
I
see
had on
through
like
net beaded
this
dress.
beaded dress. I got it from Durant Square.
Damn.
And
Durant Square, don't sleep on it. They be
okay,
come up with some good stuff sometimes if you go there. Okay,
yes.
sorry.
And so the poem Precious is about self pleasure and honoring and celebrating my body and how it feels to me. And it was important to me to have an understanding of my own pleasure before I could share that with other people, you know?
Yeah,
And so in
absolutely.
that poem, there's a climax. And the line that everyone remembers is when I say, man, I'm too much. But I said something else.
Right.
And so it was just like this celebration of the pleasure that I can give to myself.
Do you think that's something that we aren't able to talk about? Because I feel like I remember when I experienced my body at a very young age,
Mm,
and my mom came in the room and she caught me, and I felt embarrassed and I felt
mm,
ashamed. And she looked at me like once, I was just like, oh, and she was like, what were you doing in there? And I was like, oh, there was some ants in the bed and, and it was itching.
and to my
There
pants.
was some ants in my pants and I needed to dance. Lord Jesus. But but it was just
Mm,
an embarrassing moment, and from then on, and I just felt ashamed.
mm,
And I think it was just no one ever had that discussion with me that it was okay to do. I felt like, you're going to go blind, God is going to punish you. But
yeah.
actually, that didn't stop it because I just continued later down the line.
Hmm.
However, it got to know my body. So when I did start having, relations, I
Hmm.
knew how to, get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I had practice with myself. You understand?
Yes. I
So,
understand. Our mothers, they came from a generation where you did not talk about sex. It was a part of the way we've been oppressed as Black women and as Black people
mm,
is our pleasure is something that is seen as a luxury, you know,
What do
and
you
it's
mean, like a
it's
luxury?
it's seen as something that it's a luxury. Like you can only have this if you are on,
Married.
yeah, if you're on a higher level. It's like
Okay.
our pleasure, or I should say, our sexuality is for someone else's
I was
pleasure.
gonna say,
That's what I mean.
or just for a duty or an obligation, or
Hmm.
just to have children and to have a family. So there's no room like for
For the
fun.
pleasure of it and the fun of it.
Mhm.
And yeah, I know my mom, she wasn't really open with talking about sex. So there are things that I had to figure out on my own. And once I did, I felt empowered. Like, we should talk about this. We should normalize this because it's a part of who we are, and it's a part of our pleasure and our empowerment.
Did you have those discussions with your mom at all?
Mm-mm.
So how did you get to express not having these conversations with your mother about
Mm-hmm.
your body? How did you get to the place where you seem so liberated?
I did a lot of exploration, and I had just a great curiosity. Like, I always wanted to know more about it.
Yeah, what that thing do?
What that thing do? How that work?
How
Let
that
me.
work? Let me see. Let me
hmm
try this out.
And so, with my exploration, there's other women, there's other experiences that
Hmm.
I explored, and it helped me to find out more about my sexuality and my eroticism. And as a dancer, the way I use my body as a dancer, I was often curious about using my body in an erotic way. And there was a very brief stint I had when I lived in New York
Hmm.
where I worked as a stripper, and I was stripping in these clubs in the Bronx and in Brooklyn. And those 3 months gave me like 3 years of game. Like, I
Okay,
learned a lot about
you do.
men and women, and a
Hmm.
lot about my own sexual power, and a lot about what feels good to me,
Hmm.
how I
Hmm.
like to move.
Hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I did a lot of exploration.
Good for you. And it seems like that exploration and just that sense of freedom and
Hmm.
self acceptance and curiosity
Hmm.
move into other aspects of your creative life.
Yes, absolutely.
Photography,
Hmm.
dancing, like
Hmm.
you mentioned.
The way it liberates you,
Hmm.
it liberates you in other areas as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's talk about Black women.
Okay.
What do you feel Black women deserve?
The world, everything,
Mm.
standing on top, being showered with gifts and appreciation and
Mm.
love
Mm.
and support
Mm.
and acknowledgement. Um, we deserve it all. And
Absolutely.
we are the mothers of humanity and need to be respected and honored as that. And because of the oppression that we have experienced in this culture, we've gotten very far removed away from that
Hmm.
feminine power.
Mm.
But I feel that we are slowly coming back into it. And as we gain more of our femininity and our feminine power, then there's so many other things that um, elevate and support us.
Hmm. Lift up your mic for me a little bit. I just want to make sure it's not brushing up against your. Do you feel that we are in a period where some of that feminine power or that divine feminine power is out of balance?
For me personally, it felt out of balance when I was younger. And I would say for me personally, up until, I don't know, it's hard to say.
Hmm.
Thinking about my own personal experiences and
Hmm.
challenges and evolution, um, I find that my own feminine power has definitely grown and evolved. And I've learned how to tap deeper into myself.
Hmm.
And that has changed my walk. and my presence.
When you walk into a room, when I walk through,
Yes.
same here. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I don't have to be like I can lean back. It's almost like a river,
Mm-hmm.
right? How powerful the force of the river and the current is moving.
Mm-hmm.
That's me, my power, my feminine power is a river and it's moving.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sitting in it and I allow it to flow, whatever I want, I'm going to it. I don't have to go against the current. I don't have to, use even though I could be aggressive and I can be um, I have those masculine tendencies, but I feel like I feel more comfortable seated and resting in my feminine power. I feel more in control.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel it allows my husband to be in his masculine power. And so
Mm-hmm.
together we're creating a nice balance in our household. It works for me. And I just feel
That's
more
awesome.
comfortable that way. And,
Mm-hmm.
watching the matriarchs in my family just sit back and let things come to you is something to be said for,
Yes,
something to be said for that.
absolutely.
I don't even have to move. I could just give you
Yes,
a look,
yes.
you know?
And also your intuition
Mm-hmm.
and how it guides you to call in what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, I am
Tracy,
loving this
why you
conversation.
come up in here getting all deep with me?
I'm loving this conversation
Me too.
because I have been practicing the art of doing less
Yes.
and accomplishing more.
Say something. Cheers to that on that. Isn't this some
Baby,
great water? Ooh, I love
yes,
this. Cheers.
yes,
Accomplishing less and wait, doing less and
and
accomplishing more.
accomplishing more. It's like your what you put out doesn't have to be this driving force to a point where I was exhausted. I felt like
Yeah.
I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. It's
Like
this.
I had gotten so depleted,
Oh,
and the return of the effort I was putting out was
was
diminishing
not reciprocating.
less and less and less
Right.
until I was just done.
Yes.
And so I learned to pull back my energy
Mm-hmm.
and direct it in a way that is very purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
And, and learning how to say no, you
That's
know.
a big thing. That's also part of being a woman. We feel like we have to say yes to everything
Mm-hmm.
and take care
That's
of
how I
everything.
was. That's
Yeah.
how I was
Me
raised.
too.
Is to say yes and be agreeable, and
Yes.
and don't say no. Just
Yes.
automatically say yes, and that has been.
Without thinking about how it affects you 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've learned to let me think on it, and that gives me an
I'm gonna get
opportunity.
back to you on that.
Yes, that gives me an
I'm good for that.
opportunity to assess
Yes.
all that's going to be required of me.
Exactly.
Oh, I
Exactly.
used to say yes right away to everything.
Me too.
Now it's like, let me think about it, because
Hmm.
assessing all that's required of me allows me to plan and prepare and to show up fully.
And not only that, it lets the person or whatever it is that's doing the asking let you know that you're really considering the question as a serious question. That and if you're going to do it, you want to arrive into it at your best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just also cold blooded to be like, I'm gonna think about that. Let me get back to you.
Yes, yes. And that's
That's
part
gangster.
of letting it come to you.
Right. That's
It
right.
gives you an opportunity to, yeah,
Or come back.
yeah,
Come back
to
to you.
figure it out
Yeah,
and
because
just say,
sometimes it might not even come back, and then you're spinning your wheels, wondering if this thing is going to happen, and it done moved on to something else, and
mm-hmm.
just opened up your time even better. So
Is my microphone going
it
lower
looks
and
like it's
lower?
dropping. You might have to pull it up a little bit.
Yes, I'll do
Keep
it
dropping
again.
every now and then. Have to fix that.
Okay.
So you are you from Oakland,
I was born at Kaiser Hospital,
girl?
Kaiser,
So
Oakland.
you
Yes.
are you are truly a daughter of Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What are your thoughts on the state of Oakland right now?
Wow. It has it has gone through so many changes,
Mm.
and right now there is the issue of gentrification and
Mhm.
how it threatens to change the character of Oakland,
Mm-hmm.
the personality of Oakland,
Culture.
the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that personality and that culture and that character is what brings people to Oakland.
Exactly.
And so as it is threatened to be shifted, then it's like we're losing
Yeah. How
the
can we
essence of,
it
of
be
who we
erased
are.
and also cultivated at the same time? So when
Mm-hmm.
you say we're losing the essence of
Mm-hmm.
who we are, um, do you mean us as Black people, or just the culture of Oakland?
The culture of Oakland. There are some things that are happening that feel like, yeah, this is more of like the personality of the town. Oakland is a chocolate city. And even
Always been.
it's always been a chocolate city, yes. And there are different nationalities that are great contributors to the culture.
Absolutely.
But that chocolate city vibe is a part of Oakland's essence
Hmm.
that we need to hold on to.
It's always been a color of city. We have our, Latino community. We have a huge Asian Pacific Islander community, but they all still are very Oakland in the
Mm-hmm.
language and the
Mm-hmm.
in the music and the dance, the art, the culture.
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you. Do you think that we, as Black people from Oakland, have dropped the ball in any way in terms of letting it get away from us, or is this mostly policy that we're talking about?
It's mostly policy and there are forces that have really devastated us.
Yes,
You know, thinking about how the crack
the
epidemic
crack, yeah, the
just really
violence. It
destroyed
really did.
so many families and people, and we are still being affected by that. That was like
You
the
know what?
90s,
The
but
not
it's
really,
still
really the early to mid '80s, because I think
absolutely.
what was different about the crack epidemic and why it had such a long lasting impact on future generations is because it took the women out. Because it used to be before that,
Yeah.
it was heroin and cocaine and
Yeah.
stuff. Men were on it, or they were
Mhm.
coming back from the war or other
Mhm.
things. But
Mhm.
then it took the mother, and
Yeah.
then you had the mother and the grandmother. The generation gap wasn't that far, so it took the
Mhm.
grandmama too. So
Mhm.
now the children didn't have the mother, and we
Right.
didn't have our grandmothers to hold our households
Yes.
down. And when you
Yes.
pull that matriarch, every family needs a Black grandmother for
Yes.
your survival.
Mhm.
You need a Black grandmother.
Mhm.
Yes.
That is part of how devastating it was.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes the grandmother ends up raising the children, the grandchildren.
Yes.
And so when you think about the role of the matriarch in the family as a grandmother, you are in your golden years. It's
Right.
time for you to sit back and have,
Right.
the fruit of your family,
Exactly.
take care of you. But
You
now
right.
here you are
Right. If
raising babies.
babies at 60, 70 years old, and she's
And
tired,
God bless them
and they
that did
try,
that
yeah,
and helped to
yes,
hold the families together,
together, yes,
because there is a culture that says we're going to take care of our own.
hmm,
Unfortunately, some children get caught up in the system,
hmm,
but there is that feeling of like, no, we got this.
we
The
do.
grandmother's like, nope, I got it. I will do it. I will take
Hmm.
care of y'all,
Hmm.
and step in and make it happen.
I
There are
think
so many people that shout out their grandmothers.
always,
So
and
here's
mamas
to
too.
them.
Here's to me too.
Yes.
Grandmother one day.
Yes.
And I look at, I mean, not might, I know I'm going to have grandchildren. I know I'm going to have grandchildren, and I
Hmm.
feel like it gives me the opportunity to correct things that I
Hmm.
to pass down to me so much wisdom, and I look forward to passing that down to my grandchildren, and I feel like my generation, our generation,
Hmm.
are on the healing end of
Yes.
changing some of those system of oppression with the awareness that we have. spiritual practices,
Mm-hmm.
just all of that goodness. I feel like I have hope for that. I
Mm.
have so much hope, and that we've made it through crack.
Mm-hmm.
We made it through the AIDS epidemic. We even made it through hell, the pandemic. We didn't want to talk about it. And we're
Hello.
still here.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I look forward to being the nature of my family. And I look forward to being there for my
Good.
children. I really do, just for the things that I've seen.
So I'm getting a little hot.
Take.
Oh,
Oh wait.
oh,
Before you take. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
yes.
Wait a minute now. Hold on. Let me just.
This
Let me
wasn't
get
what
rid
I
of
wore
this.
for the interview,
Yeah.
but I was encouraged to keep this jacket
Right,
on
okay,
for a
so-
special
So
thing.
both of us have on Black Panther tribute jackets. Mine is by Tony Be Conscious.
Oh,
That I
nice.
got at the lake, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has Huey P. Newton on this side.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Camera am I doing? This one? Middle camera? Okay.
Okay, let me get up too.
So y'all can see our jackets. So can we do a little fashion show right quick?
Oh,
Let's do a little fashion show. This is my jacket right here.
I got on the Mad Out Future.
Okay, look.
Yes.
Man, and we didn't even plan this. We didn't even plan it.
But this is the Bay Area representing who we are.
Represent the whole history right here on my jacket. From an Oakland artist also. You see Tony B. Conscious at the lake all the time, and I had to pick up this also. And Tracy got hers.
Yeah.
And we just talk about Oakland pride.
Mm-hmm.
All right, quick intermission. I hope y'all enjoy that little fashion show right quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Venus Lounge. Make sure you guys follow us on it's the Venus Lounge podcast on YouTube and the Venus Lounge on Facebook, and follow KPFA 94.1 on Facebook, KPFA Radio on Twitter, Twitch TV, YouTube, and Snapchat. All right. Okay, so we were talking about our grandmothers, our legacies. So what are you building on right now? I know you got something going on.
Yes. You know, B Love's Guest House is what I'm focusing on and building on right now.
I love that.
And it is such a unique and special place.
It really is. It's a movie. You give Suge Avery vibes. I don't know why. Whenever I see you, I just see sister. I just like you give such. You're such a Renaissance woman. You're so like there's something very throwback about you. And when I see B Love's Guest House, that's what I think of. And so it's on. I saw it on what's the app called where you could Airbnb.
Yes. Airbnb, Condé Nast.
Yes.
I had a nice feature on Condé Nast with what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. She uses it's not Carmen San Diego. It's a black girl from Oakland.
Niecy Nash?
No, she has a travel show.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Oh, God,
is it Remy? Marty San Diego.
There you go. Marty San Diego has a travel show. She came on there, and on her blog was your guest. Yes.
So on her blog, on a feature she did with Condé Nast, Traveler, and I want to get on the show. Her show, The Green Book. Yes.
So how did you come up with this concept?
It is the craziest thing. I was a homeowner, a new homeowner, and I planned to have rental property. And so I purchased a Victorian house in West Oakland.
Go ahead, girl.
And the lower unit was the rental property. My plan was to have a tenant. But this big Victorian house, that lower unit had 5 bedrooms. And so I had challenges in renting it out. It's like, is it going to be one big family or it could be 2? Is it going to be 5 roommates? Are they all going to take care of the place? And so I'm, reaching out to all these different options to rent out this lower unit. And it's nice. It's a cute space.
Very nice.
It just wasn't coming together. So my first tenants were choreographer friends of mine who came to the Bay for a 3-month residency. That was the light bulb moment. I said, I know all the rap artists, filmmakers, poets, graffiti artists, b-boys, African dance conferences,
Goodness.
poetry slams.
Keep
Like, my
going.
life is in the arts.
It,
I
you are
know all
art.
these people that are
Hmm.
coming to the Bay for gigs, residencies, to kick it, jams, graffiti sessions, all these things. That's part of my community of
Hmm.
international artists and activists.
Hmm.
And so I just started letting my folks know, like, hey, I got rooms for rent. I started staging the rooms and putting it together and offering these rooms for rent. And so it was an
There you
experience
go.
of,
There you go.
thank you. It was an
Hmm.
experience of kind of building the plane as I was flying it,
Hmm.
because I still had this full-time life going on
Of
with my
course.
other work.
Right. Other
I hadn't
work. You had to
planned
pay
on
the
that
bills. You had a
business.
house note. Yeah. The bills don't stop.
Yep. I hadn't planned on adding another business to
Right.
my already full schedule. But there are things within my journey and my life that set me up for this. Let me tell you,
Such as.
my
Do
mother
tell.
had a house cleaning service that we could not stand as children, because she, in the summer, she would take us and put us to work with her.
Isn't that something?
And she worked for this man named John Wagers, who had all this property in the Temescal in North Oakland. And she would clean his tenants' apartments. Like, when people would move out, she would clean the apartments and then prepare for the next tenant moving in. And when I had that light bulb moment, it's like, and I know how to clean, and I know how to prep
Right.
for the next person coming in.
Okay. If let me take all my life experiences and make some money was a person.
Exactly.
Shoot.
Putting it all together. And another thing that um, I didn't anticipate I would need is, my mother was born on a farm in
Yeah,
Texas,
I saw you planting those all the vegetables and all that stuff
in
during
the
the
backyard. Every house we lived in
girl.
East Oakland, my mother had a big ass garden.
Mm, mm, mm.
And working in the garden, growing up, it was just another chore. Vacuum the floor, pull up them weeds, wash the dishes,
Good
come help
old
me in the
fashioned
backyard.
values. Stuff that you hate when you were little always ends up being the thing that just gives you so many life lessons and that
Yes,
you pull back. And right when you pull them from them in your life, you know exactly where it came from.
exactly. It was like, oh, I know about this. I
Right.
know. And it was one of those things where, even knowing things through osmosis,
Mm-hmm.
like, all her brothers and sisters garden. So we
Mm-hmm.
would go to Compton, we would drive down to San Luis Obispo. She would be like, oh, let me get some cuttings from her brother, from her sister. And so when we would drive back up to Oakland, she would be like, don't smash my cuttings. And then I see him sitting in the windowsill. Then I see him in the backyard. So I had this experience of seeing it kind of through osmosis of how these plants are being cultivated. And I was like, whoa, I know this. I know about this.
Right.
I know how to do this. So the garden at B Love's Guest House is the most exquisite amenity. It is like a little mini farm. It is a
Girl,
lush urban garden
I've
that I've
seen it.
created.
Another amenity are those photographs that are in your house and that are also at the Memphis
Yes.
National Museum
Of
of
African
African American Music
music.
that you have an
Yes.
exhibit up now.
Mm-hmm. Woo!
Tracy,
Let me
let,
cool
let
off.
me let me
Cool
tell you what.
off. Oh my goodness, because I am just feeling so excited and overwhelmed. And yes, my vision, um, actually, my vision being that, one, there became a lot of Airbnbs in my neighborhood. And
Mm,
at first, it
mm,
was just me. And it was just
mm,
me as the guest house. Eventually, I got a profile on Airbnb.
mm.
But for a long time, my own community of artists is
Didn't.
what sustained me.
Mm.
People's coming,
Right.
and booking
Supporting.
rooms and
Hmm.
supporting. So,
But you offer an experience. It's not
mhm.
just you sleeping there. You're a part of history. You're a part of the historical community in Oakland, and to have a Victorian in Oakland as a Black person who grew up in Oakland, do you understand
Yes.
what you sitting wow, girl.
Yes, and it's a Queen and
Of
Victorian.
course it is.
Baby, it's
Of
big and
course it is.
beautiful. So you also know me through photography.
Yeah.
And in the 90s, I was a hip hop photojournalist. I
Yep.
shot for all the local magazines.
Yep.
I shot for 4080 Roots magazine.
You just sent me a photograph of Silky, who was on the show last week, from
Yes.
back in early, like 1990.
Yes, it was 1999, the
Mm.
video for Hard
Yeah.
Times.
Yep.
Yes. So that picture of Silky is in the National Museum of African American Music
Isn't that
in
amazing?
Nashville, Tennessee. I have a solo show of 21 photographs, 3 collages, and a
Wow.
audio visual wall slideshow of like 50 Bay Area just
So how does that feel to
images.
see your work up there like that?
It feels amazing. It feels so good. It was I think in 2016 I decided like it's time for me to go in my storage unit
And pull
and
it
pull
out.
out these stacks of boxes.
When
I'm gonna cry now.
we still had negatives and we still had photos, that's a whole lost art form because people
Yes.
don't even print photos anymore. So to
Yes.
be able to have that, you're like a historian. You
Yes.
know what I mean? An archivist
It
in
was
the true
like
sense.
almost 20 boxes
Sheesh. It was
of
like
like
Christmas, huh?
photos, negatives, slides,
Jeez.
you know. So I decided, like, okay, now I'm going to create an exhibition, and I eventually want to publish a coffee table book of these
Oh wow,
photographs.
that would be
And
beautiful.
it took like 7 years for me
Wow.
to process through all of
Wow.
those, put hands on
Right.
everything, put the negatives in the archival plastic sleeves,
Mm-hmm.
alphabetize it.
Cataloging,
Yes, cataloging it.
organizing. Yeah.
hmm So organizing, cataloging it. Now I have this archive where I'm like, oh, if I need a picture of this, there it is. I can
Wow.
find
Now
it.
that is a skill. We need to do that with all of our
Mm.
stuff, all of our historical
Mm-hmm.
footage and photographs. I need to do it with all the footage I have. I was saying a lot of the photographs, I have the footage in
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I've been going through it also. I can't even find people to transfer some of the stuff that I have
Mm.
archived.
So my vision was to create an exhibition of
Mhm.
these photographs I shot in the Bay
Mhm.
in the 90s.
Mhm.
And there are areas of the house, of the guest house, they have these 11-foot ceilings. They already got the
That's your
picture
gallery.
molding. I
Yes.
was like, God, you done gave me
Girl,
an
I love
art
how you clicked
gallery.
into just every you are rich. You are rich in the
Yeah.
truest sense of the word.
And it is about following my intuition. And it took a minute. I'm an auntie mama.
Mhm.
I raised my niece,
I
and
remember you
once,
telling me that. I
yes,
remember us having this discussion.
mm-hmm. And once she became a mom and started her family, and she moved out, I was like, okay,
Right.
it's time for me to turn this part of the house into also an extension of the guest house. Because at first, for the first 10 or so years, it was only the downstairs,
That's
and I
right.
lived upstairs with my family.
Mhm.
So once she moved out, then I turned the second floor into more space for the guest house. And with those high ceilings, I was like, oh, I'm about to make some large scale prints
Fill these walls
and
up.
fill these walls up. And so in August, I launched the gallery experience at B Love's Guest House featuring my photography collection. And my vision was that I think the whole world is going to be excited about these images. So, B Love's Guest House in West Oakland is going to be the jump off before they go out into the world. So, I launched in August. I had gallery experiences, gallery tours, and a curator from the National Museum of African American
Look
Music
at that.
was looking for photographers, documentarians to represent the West Coast. He did a Google search and
You're
found the gallery experience at B Love's Guest House. And that's how they invited me to have a solo show.
Your intuition is on point. I'm gonna say it's hard. Like that's all intuition because you just went from a seed to like,
Yeah.
let me just do this. Oh, let me just go ahead and do this. And I
Mm.
love how there. Did you have any doubt?
I did. I
Mm-hmm.
did have a lot of doubt.
Yeah.
And it was very, very hard. That's why I was like, I'm about to cry because it was a hard process and
Mm-hmm.
it was long and it was arduous. And I had help. I had to bring in help, people to help me, but
Mm-hmm.
still, it is such a weight of mental dexterity to just put all of that together. So yeah, when people book a room at B Love's Guest House, baby, you walk in and you see Oakland
You sure do.
all on the
From
walls.
from a person who is a part of the same culture that you're looking at.
Yes.
That's really important because the
Yes.
translation of people who are not within that community documenting that community is
Mhm.
you're gonna that's the only way that you can get it in its truest form. The
Mhm.
interpretation of it always ends up being something different. So
So with this oversaturated market of people doing Airbnb, I was like,
what can I
let
offer?
me
Yeah.
set myself apart
Hmm.
with what I have.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let me use what I have to the fullest. And that was also part of my inspiration for putting those photos on the wall is combating what gentrification can erase. It's like, oh no,
Yeah, but it's
I'm going to
also
put the photos of my neighborhood
hmm
growing up in East Oakland,
hmm
92nd, 98th Avenue. I'm going to put those portraits because we didn't talk about me as a dancer, but I left Oakland when I was 19 and I had a scholarship to the Alvin Ailey School
I
in New
remember.
York.
I remember you dancing a little bit with New Style Mother Love. Corey
Yes.
Action. Hello,
Yes.
Corey. You gonna get your little butt on the show too.
Yes.
I
Corey
love
Action,
him.
that's my
Yeah,
brother.
that's my baby too.
Yes.
Yes.
So I danced with different dance companies. I traveled to other countries. And so then when I came back to the Bay
Mm-hmm.
in the early 90s,
Mm-hmm.
I see my neighborhood through new eyes because I have been in New York. I've been to
Mm-hmm.
other
I
countries
see. I
and
see.
I had a camera that someone gifted me and I just started taking pictures. And so my folks, my neighbors between 90th and 98th, between Bancroft and East 14th, those were my first muses.
Mm.
And they were just amused with me. They was like, Tracy Barlow, you've been to New York and now you back, you want to suppose? And so they were familiar with me. And I would just go out in the neighborhood, walking up and down the streets, asking people, let me take your picture.
You know what's my favorite photo?
Which one?
Lunel. Lunel holding baby Danielle with her
Yes.
polka dot little outfit on. I would like a print of that.
Yes.
Like I'll pay for it. I want that
Oh,
in my studio.
yes,
That's my one of my
absolutely.
favorite photos because it's
Mm.
so Lunel,
Mm-hmm.
and just for her to be in it has something special because we know what Lunel is, right? And
Yes.
but for her to allow you to capture that photo, it was so beautiful. And just I love how you said earlier, using what I have.
Yes, to the
If
fullest.
that ain't a black woman statement, I don't know what is.
It's
And
like,
making it something beautiful.
yes. It's like you give me some string, I'm gonna make a garment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make some jewelry, I'm gonna make a head tie.
Mm.
I'm gonna make something with whatever it is that I have, and I'm gonna make it
And
spectacular.
it's gonna be beautiful. And then you're gonna pay for it.
Okay.
So let
Yes.
me ask you
Mm-hmm.
something. I mean, just having had so many successful creative ventures with the photography and the Be Love's Guest House and the museum, how is life calling you now? What's the calling now?
My calling now is to get deeper into myself and my purpose. And earlier we had a conversation about intuition,
Mm-hmm.
about following that voice inside. And there were times where I let the thoughts and opinions of others guide me. And I have learned to remove those voices and tap deeper into my inner voice.
Mhm.
And so my purpose now is to get deeper into my inner voice
Mhm.
and the gifts and blessings that God has given me and to bring them out to the fullest. hmm
I
I'm
love that.
excited about B Love's Guest House and
Me too.
how how it is continuing to
To
evolve.
grow and evolve. I
hmm
remember just waking up in the morning and seeing you dance in the morning in front of the camera, just grooving. I'm like, hey, it's 8 o'clock, and you just be like, it's time to move your body, y'all,
Yes.
in the living
Yes.
room. I was
Mhm.
just like, oh my God, this
Mhm.
is this is inspiring,
Mhm. Well, something important to touch on with that is
mm,
because I'm over 50 and it's important for me
I know
to
because the fan is fanning.
okay, because the fan is
Because
fanning.
I was like, you was like, you got
Ooh,
a fan? I was like, I do.
baby, I sure
Certain
enough
age over
needed it.
here, anything to kick it off.
Yes.
Yes.
Hot flashes, the way your body
Ooh,
changes,
girl.
and the fact of me being an aging athlete. Like I used to love how strong my body was. And
Mm,
now there's a different way that I have to condition my body
mhm.
to stay fit and to continue to dance. And that's something that also, we live in a culture of youth, where
Yeah,
it's not celebrated, the matriarchs
that's right.
and the elder women,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
baby,
Yeah.
I love being over
You know what I'm
50.
saying?
It's
It's a
like,
whole,
baby,
it's
y'all get
juicy.
ready. It's
It's
juicy.
so
It
juicy.
is powerful. It's
Yes,
juicy. It's powerful.
yes.
It is like
Confident.
it's confident. It's
Yes.
the most I have known
Oh,
and
I know.
understood myself
I know.
ever
And
in
it's
my
almost
life.
like you can sit back and like, y'all can have that. You know what I mean? I'm
Exactly.
not even sweating that. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Because just like you have this understanding
Yeah.
of yourself
Yeah.
that it's like you don't have to go out and get acceptance. It's like, I'm good.
I'm good. And also, we didn't grow up with social media, so it's really through and through
Yes.
confidence. It's
Mm-hmm.
not based on superficial or just
Mm-hmm.
things that involve the public and people's
Mm-hmm.
perception of you and likes and follows. It's really based on like real rooted experiences, going through life and like you said, working with what you got. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like your
Yes.
body, your mind, your
Mm-hmm.
face,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. We weren't doing all of that. We just had to make what you had work and
Mm-hmm.
work it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what when was the last time you felt lit up inside?
I have to say the last time I felt lit up inside was at the premiere in Nashville.
Mm,
They took good care of me.
wow.
Shout out to the National Museum of African American Music, the curator Dr. Brian Pierce, um, Noel, the education director, Dion, like all the folks at that museum.
Yeah.
They treated me like a
Queen.
queen. They took good care of me. Yep. And the premiere, it was an audience full of people. It was packed. It was a packed house, and it
Mhm.
also spoke to how the Bay, how people are fascinated with
By
the
the bay,
Bay.
huh?
They were like, "Oh, we're about to see some Bay Area images, some rare, unpublished Bay Area
How
images,
about
baby."
that?
The house was packed.
Because most everything is on Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and the social media, so it's all, so to have that in real person and not just be scrolling and have it, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like to see something rare is a gift these days.
Yes,
you
yes. And I
know
have a lot of rare unpublished photographs.
that's a gift.
mm-hmm.
I mean, just being able to take those photos in that moment during that time and for your intuition to even kick in, be like, I'm gonna photograph this. That's
Mm.
tapping in because a lot of people that you photographed early in their careers, no one knew if they
Yeah.
were going to be famous or still here or doing
Yes.
like Lunel or Silky or
Mm-hmm.
The Coup or,
Mm-hmm.
Too Short,
And
Tupac,
Sway. Yes.
Sway,
Mm-hmm.
all everybody that's from the Bay. We didn't know at that time. It was just we were
Mm-hmm.
local and we were doing our thing.
And it was
Oh, it was
exciting.
such a beautiful
So that
time.
moment of coming back from New York and seeing what the scene was like, carrying my camera with me everywhere, those were events that I was going to be at anyway. And then having this
Right,
new
right,
fascination of like,
right.
oh, I could
Yeah,
capture these
exactly.
moments with my
Camera
camera and I can share them. So I was at all the shows and clubs and parties and events that I was going to be at
anyway.
anyway.
Right.
And then I was capturing those moments,
Yeah, as an
the essence of
insider.
that scene. Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that takes a lot of intuition.
Yeah.
That really does. Being a
Yes.
photographer and just even getting up and deciding, you know what, I'm gonna go to this event and I'm gonna bring my camera.
Mm-hmm.
So can we move to the messages that we would like to send? Like, what would you want to share for the younger generation of women?
I want the younger generation of women to learn things that I had to learn the hard way. And that is one, the importance of following your intuition and being okay with going against the grain. Oh, come on now. I'm about to
Hello.
shout out Tina Turner.
Wow. Hello. So,
Rest in
okay.
power, Tina Turner.
Oh,
Break every rule.
wow.
Don't be afraid to go against the grain as you are following your intuition.
How do you? Some people may not even know what that is. Because I
It's
have,
that
I
inner voice.
you know, sometimes it ain't even a voice. It's just like I just have to move here.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes it'll be like turn right.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
not
not
even
even.
like
You don't even think about it.
it's like do this. And so you have to follow that first thought.
You can't pay attention to how things look on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You can't because that's actually the illusion,
Mm-hmm.
because it'll have you
Mm-hmm.
thinking like, nah, I need to see it materialize. I need proof. I need to know this is going to work. Anything that shows up like that, intuition is the opposite, right? And faith
Yeah.
has to be thrown in there too a little
Yes,
bit
yes.
because it looked like it's not
Mm-hmm.
going to happen, but it's something in you that just like
Mm-hmm.
has to go towards it, like you're pulled towards it.
Yeah, you're being guided
How do you develop that?
by being quiet
Mm-hmm.
and listening and acting on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you act on it, it prompts you, it strengthens, kind of like strengthens that
Right. When
muscle.
you see it
Mm-hmm.
manifest, and when you see like, oh, okay, I did,
Mm-hmm.
moving this right way.
Mm-hmm. I would also encourage the younger women to be true to yourself, to find ways of getting to know yourself. Like, what are your natural abilities and endowments and character
Mm-hmm.
and talents? Get to know yourself and be guided by that.
Mm-hmm.
Be
And
true to
yeah,
yourself.
the only way to be really to know yourself is to spend time by yourself. Spend time by yourself with yourself and your
Mm-hmm.
own thoughts. Sometimes that's scary, but
Mm-hmm.
really is also very liberating
It
because you're not
is.
defined by people's expectations, their opinions, or even their praise.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, just your own results.
Yes.
I really cherish time alone. I
Mm-hmm.
really cherish time
That is
alone.
important as well.
Hmm.
Yes.
So, who are your idols? I know we talked about Tina Turner.
Yes. I have to just talk about Tina Turner for a quick minute because oh my God, God rest her soul. What a powerful human. Looking at
Yeah,
pictures
to
of,
survive Ike Turner's crazy, girl. I'm like, and to still be doing it like that, like she really saved herself. She saved herself
like, the I
to
can't
leave
even
out
think
that
about
chokehold, like
the
literal chokehold,
physical abuse, like to actually
and the
get
mental abuse,
all of that and to step out of that.
and to still be like, I'm the show, I'm the bad mom, I'm the right. Because the whole time he had her thinking or others thinking he was it.
Yeah.
It was her.
Yep. And she proved to herself
Mhm.
and the world how powerful she is. I love her long legs. And there's a image that I shot recently, and I'm sitting with my legs out, and I saw these images of Tina Turner. I was like, "Yep, those legs
For
inspired
days.
me." Who else are my idols? I don't know. I I'm just gonna say people that really inspire
Yeah, it
me.
doesn't have to be a
Um,
specific person. It could be just characteristics.
well, there's people like Lisa Nichols
Mm-hmm.
and Iyanla Van
Son,
Zandt
oh
that
God, love her.
inspire me,
Yes.
and Oprah inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Amiri Baraka,
Mm-hmm.
Sonia Sanchez,
Mm-hmm.
all those
Come
folks from the
on.
Black Arts Movement, Malcolm X, inspire me. Like there are teachings of Malcolm X that I hold on to. Like this is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm going to take care of my family. This is how I'm going to show up for community. You know, there are idols like, what about dance? Oh my goodness, my mentor Norma Miller and Frankie Manning. Um, they inspire me with dance, and Missy Elliott with her music
Oh God, I love
that
Missy
pushes
Elliott.
us to move our bodies.
I love Tierra Whack too. I feel like
I
she's
don't know who that is.
yeah, she's like
Tierra Whack.
Tierra Whack. Oh yeah, she reminds me of the younger generation of what Missy Elliott is. Phenomenal
Hmm.
lyricist, can hang with the best of them. Oh, she's pretty live.
I'm gonna have to check her
Yeah,
out.
check her out.
Hmm.
Um, so gosh, you have so much to be grateful for. You have, I mean, when I say you are rich, I mean that in the spiritual sense, just with all of the gifts that you have, the creative gifts. What are you most grateful for?
I am most grateful that God put this in me, that I serve a higher
Hey,
power.
now.
I am most grateful that I am a vessel,
Mm,
that this moves through me. Because
mm.
sometimes I'm like, why did why
Right?
did I do that? Like,
Right.
where is this coming from? Like I really,
Do you have insecure moments?
oh, absolutely.
And what do you do when you have them? Like, you just like go through it, negative
I
self talk.
breathe, and I've learned to listen to my negative self talk. And even just the other day, I'm like, you've been talking bad about Tracy all day.
Right?
No, look, I said this to myself the other day, just the other day. I said, you've been talking bad about Tracy all morning.
You said it out loud.
I said that to myself
I like
because
that.
of those negative thoughts
I
and
like that.
insecurities. It's like, stop talking. You've been talking bad about her all morning. And
Stop.
so being aware of those negative thoughts and
Stop
those
it.
insecurities,
Stop
then
it.
it's like, why are you thinking that way?
Right.
Why are you feeling that way? And I do take a moment to check it out, to analyze it
What's
and
like
what's real,
right?
because it's
Mm,
it's usually based on something that is not real. It's based on my projection of something.
mm-hmm.
It's not based on what is actually happening.
Happening. For those of you tuning in, you're watching the Venus Lounge. I have my special guest here, Tracy Bartlow, entrepreneur, and artist, and activist, archivist. And you can follow us on the Venus Lounge on Facebook, and it's the Venus Lounge podcast on YouTube. And also follow us on KPFA 94.1 on Facebook and KPFA Radio on Twitter, Twitch TV, and YouTube. Make sure y'all follow us and share. I really appreciate it if you do that for me because we're here for y'all. So it's about reciprocity, right?
Yes,
You can't
about
get something for nothing.
sharing.
Huh?
Ow.
What? Ew.
Yes.
Thighs. What?
Yes. Ow. And them silver boots.
What?
I
Don't give me
love
my
it.
silver boots.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
need me a pair.
You
Those are
know,
fly.
I actually, when I put them on, I was like, wait a minute. They gave me a little like step. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
well, we have a minute and 50 left on the
Hmm.
show. So I need you to really quickly in 50 seconds tell us about your exhibit, where to follow you, any announcements you want to make. And go.
B Loves Guest House. You can follow B Loves Guest House at B-Loves guesthouse.com. It is a lodging service with a gallery
And
experience,
garden.
and an exquisite urban garden. It is a unique experience. In August and September, we
Mm-hmm.
will have our gallery tours,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you can purchase tickets on Airbnb or on our website. And the gallery tours will be in August and September. You can also catch my photography solo
Exhibit
show
show.
at
Yes.
the National Museum of African American Music in Nashville, Tennessee. I will be back in Nashville next week for some different events. So I'm excited to be back in Nashville before the show closes. My exhibition closes July 1st. You can also check out, I have an image in a show called Resting Our Eyes, and I'm wearing some uh, gold bamboo hoops by Sucre um, jewelry designers, and it says Resting Our Eyes. TT, this is
TT.
TT's show.
TT. Okay,
Yes.
TT. TT, we're gonna have to sign off though. I love you, TT. Love the jewelry, love resting our eyes. We're gonna rest our eyes and our voices because we're gonna have to log off. But thank you guys for watching. Be sure to catch us here every week on Facebook Live. It's the Venus Lounge at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can also email me if you want to be a guest on the show, Renee at kpfa.org or Renee Moncada at gmail.com. I'll see y'all next week. I love you. Thank you for watching.